Welcome to Letter to the Youth, where the past speaks and the future listens. Legends lived it. We pass it on.
My name is Assata Shakur. Assata means she who struggles. Olugbala means for the people, and Shakur means the thankful. It is a name that I took to carry on the name of Zaid Malik Shakur in honor of his family and in honor of the forces of beauty and good on this earth, which I'm very grateful for. That is my name.
They call me Assata Shakur, but I was born JoAnne Chesimard on July 16th, 1947, in New York City. I was born into a country that recited freedom like a prayer, but practiced inequality like a habit. I grew up watching contradictions, watching black neighborhoods flooded with police, but starving for protection, watching schools crumble while prisons expanded, watching my people blamed for surviving conditions they didn't create. And I could not stay quiet, because once you see injustice clearly, silence becomes impossible. I read, I studied, I searched for truth beyond textbooks.
The only way that we're going to realize freedom, justice, equality, decent living for people is if there's a complete change. Everything has got to be turned around, and that's a revolution, a complete change.
I learned that power protects itself. I learned that systems rarely correct themselves without pressure. That search led me to the Black Panther Party, not because I wanted chaos, but because I wanted dignity. The Panthers fed children before school. They opened free health clinics. They taught political education. They believed Black communities deserve safety, food, and self-determination. We were young, organized, disciplined. We believed we could build something better. Later, I became associated with the Black Liberation Army. The early 1970s were heavy. Activists were surveilled, infiltrated, arrested. COINTELPRO was real. Trust was fragile. Then came May 2nd, 1973, a traffic stop on the New Jersey Turnpike, turned into a moment that would define my life.
Broken taillight. A broken taillight? We weren't doing anything wrong.
This feels like harassment.
Seconds that would echo for decades. Gunfire erupted. Chaos swallowed the night. Trooper Werner Förster was killed. Trooper James Harper was wounded. Zaid Malik Shakur, a man I was riding with, was killed. I was shot. My arm shattered. My body bleeding on the pavement. I have always said this clearly. I did not fire a weapon. Supporters argued it would have been nearly impossible for me to handle a gun. But courtrooms are not just about evidence. They are about narratives, and narratives are powerful. In 1977, I was convicted and sentenced to life in prison.
Assata Shakur, you have been found guilty of the murder of a state trooper. I hereby sentence you to life in prison.
Life. They put me in solitary confinement. They wanted to break my body and my mind. But even in isolation, your thoughts can remain free. Even in silence, your spirit can resist. In November 1979, members of the Black Liberation Army helped me escape. No one was killed in the operation. I left those walls behind and disappeared into the underground. Years later, I resurfaced in Cuba. I was granted political asylum. The Cuban government called me a political refugee. The United States government called me a fugitive. Some see a criminal. Some see a revolutionary. Some see a woman shaped by a violent era. I see a human being who lived through a storm. To the youth listening now, Do not let history be handed to you in fragments. Study it. Feel it. Question it. Anger without clarity is a trap. Passion without discipline is self-destruction. If you stand against injustice, do it with wisdom. Do it with knowledge. Real change requires strategy, not just emotion. Justice is not perfected by governments. It is demanded by people who refuse to disappear. I am Assata Shakur, and this is my letter to the youth.
That, I don't know, gave me the inner strength that I needed to overcome, or to be able to think about overcoming the tremendous odds that were against me. It was my grandmother. She came from Wilmington, North Carolina, to see me at Yardville Prison. I was in that prison. I was put in a maximum security unit, in a cell with 2 guards in front of the cell 24 hours a day, and a cell between 2 gun towers that could train their guns directly on the cell. I was told that I was in the Yardville unit for women, even though I was the only woman, and they tried to keep me there for the rest of my life. My grandmother came to visit me there to tell me a dream, and she came with all of my family, and everybody was happy, and I'm like, what's happening with y'all? And they said, no, she had a dream, and I was like, okay. And so my grandmother's dream was that she was dressing me, that she was in an old house that she lived in when she lived in New York still, and she was putting clothes on me. I said, is that the dream? She said, that's the dream. And I said, well, was I little or big? She said, no, you were big. So I said, oh my God, the only time people dress anybody when they're grown is when they're dead. And so she said, no, I know what you're thinking, no. What this dream means is that you are going to leave this prison. I don't know when, but it's going to be much less time than you've already spent here. And, I didn't understand the dream, to be honest. It didn't make any sense to me. What does this have and wearing clothes have to do with getting out of prison? But my grandmother has always had dreams, and her dreams have always come true.
Yeah. This is more than a story. This is a letter to the youth. This a letter to the youth, from the ones who survived, from the pages of the past where the brave stayed alive. They stumbled, they fell, but they stood every time. Turned scars into wisdom, turned pain into shine. Not fairy tales, nah, this real life proof. Every legend was once just a kid with a truth. Same fear in their chest, same weight on their back. Only difference is they refuse to go back. Letter to the youth, yeah, we passing the flame. Knowledge in the ink, hope written in names. If the world tried to break you, said you wouldn't make it through, read the stories that remind you this was written for you. Letter to the youth, every word got a cause. From the rise and the fall, from the wins to the loss. We don't glorify pain, we promote the climb. Passing lessons through generations and time. This for the youth, feeling lost in the noise. Every dream interrupted, every unheard voice. History ain't distant, it's closer than you think. Same battles, new faces, same pen, same ink. They didn't have shortcuts, just make the mistakes. Now their stories are maps, so you don't lose your way. If you question your power, let the past be the proof. Everything you need is already in you. This ain't about worshiping legends. It's about learning from them. This is a letter to the youth. Yeah.